Hello and welcome back everybody to the Country Sampler Studio. I'm Rene and I promised to show you today how to create an interesting door arrangement in lieu of a wreath for your spring door or any season really that you want to make one for, but we're going to be repurposing a frame. So I have a stack of frames here just because they are something that if you are like me, they're easy to find, and I don't know why I always feel like I need to grab them, but some of them are just so cool and they're so inexpensive when you are at a flea market or a garage sale or a secondhand store. I can't pass them up. And obviously, like, part of the stack is mine personally and I haven't even put anything in them yet, but I like them. And honestly, part of today's decor, I've seen in a lot of places that people just hang them on their wall empty and maybe just fill, do layers of them and put something in the middle. But it is not hard to come up with frames for projects. And I kind of feel like I'm on a frame kick. And I don't know why, but I use what I have, and I have frames. So I'm going to get some of them out of the way because we don't need them all. But let me point out that these two right here are good candidates for what we are doing today because of the size and the shape. So when you're looking for one for our project today, it needs to kind of be about the size that a wreath would be to put on your door. And the nice thing about the two that I have here are they have they're kind of wide, okay? So they're wide enough that we can design around them. This one that I did that's up here already was perfect because it was really wide, but we're going to be taking some material and ribbon and wrapping it around the back. And so on the back side, it's got a nice wide piece for me to staple into too, and they're wood. All right, that's kind of also important. You wouldn't be able to staple probably into something plastic, but most frames anymore that you're going to find that are older are going to be wood. So an old wood frame. I like this one a lot because it has the chippiness going to it already, but I also like this one for today's demonstration because it has so much of the wood and I can staple into it. So if I were going to use this one for anything for my door, I might paint it. Give it any color that I want, distress it, do whatever. You could just leave it like this. But the kind of the idea, the inspiration behind what this guy's doing is that we're kind of creating like a basket, and the top of the frame is like a handle. So when it's hanging up here, that's kind of how I envisioned it. It's like a basket, and I'm creating the bottom part of the basket out of whatever material that I have on hand. In this particular example, I wrapped it with some burlap ribbon, some really wide burlap ribbon underneath, and then I layered some springy colored florals and pink ribbon that I had because I wanted to make it, look more springy. And I just layered it over the top. But that created the bottom half of my basket, and then I literally tucked the flowers in between. So in order to do that, all you need to have on hand is a couple of things other than your frame. So whether or not you have burlap material, burlap ribbon, like this wide ribbon that I have right here, regular ribbon, we're going to even put some regular ribbon on there today. You could even, if you just want to use up scrap material, take and start your material and tear it into strips and use that, or use the whole thing. It's really completely up to you. I'm just kind of giving you the idea for inspiration, and then you can build on it from there and do whatever you want. So that's where we're going to go today. Probably other than the frame is a staple gun. Now you could hot glue this if you don't have a staple gun. You can hot glue it to get it to stay. I think hot glue would be fine. I prefer just to staple the heck out of it and keep it where it is and not have to burn my fingers on hot glue. So a hot glue gun might come in handy even with your embellishments, because once you get your base done, then you can design in it and you can design around it. So it kind of just becomes this whole thing that can grow into whatever your project you want it to look like. So it's just really kind of fun, and you can personalize it really, really easily. So the bottom line is that you just need to have enough ribbon or material to wrap around the bottom. So I'm going to just kind of try to keep mine simple today since we're doing it on camera and I don't ever want to take up a lot of your time. So I'm going to just kind of design this upside down. But remember I said that I like to be able to use the back side to staple into. So I'm going to start with just a couple of staples over here. I'm going to pull this kind of tight and wrap it over. So here's another thing. You can just do the front if you want to. But the reason why this whole thing kind of inspired me to do it this way was because I kind of felt like I was making a basket, and I wanted to make a pocket of the lower half of the frame to put my flowers in. Because I think I've said this multiple times, I reuse things a lot here in the studio, and if I don't have to cut up my flower stems, if I can just literally stick the entire bunch of something in there and it looks good without having to cut it apart, then it lasts me a lot longer. But the same thing is true at home. If you don't have to cut things up and put them permanently in something, then you're going to get to use them over and over again, and it's easier to store them, you know, the whole 9 yards. So I like to be able to just stick it in there and have it stay where I want it, okay, instead of having to put it in foam or, you know, glue it or do it anything like that. Totally up to you, your project, but I kind of like the idea of making a pocket. So on that note, that's why I'm kind of wrapping it all the way around and kind of trying to keep it tight so that when I get it stapled, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay? So I'm going to do an underlying version, kind of like I did in that one, and just do a couple of layers of this. If I think it's too high, or if I want to give it another look, you can fold it down. You can make this grungy and use, you know, tea-stained material, make it look real, real country, give it some extra layers. You can do whatever you want with it because it's yours. So I don't even think I stapled that straight, but I've mentioned that before too, that I don't usually do things straight. So if it's not tight enough, then I can restaple it wherever it needs to be stapled. Sometimes this burlap doesn't want to stay put because it falls apart. I'm going to staple it a couple times on the opposite side. All right, so kind of got my base going where I want it. So that's just the beginning. That's like layer number one. I have this viney stuff, which I kind of looped around up there, which I really liked to add that kind of cool element of spring and give me a little bit of extra room to design around. This, I think you can pick this up at any craft store. It's just in these rolls. It's a little challenging to get it unrolled and everything, and I might not even take the time on camera to wrap it around, but you can see how I kind of did it on this one. I stapled it on the front and I took it through, and then I brought it around and I gave myself like a little spot down here on the bottom so that it didn't look too terribly plain on the bottom. So you can use anything like that you might have, or ribbon. Maybe we'll just do a ribbon treatment when we're done, and we'll put a bow maybe at the top. So that's my bottom layer, and I kind of wanted to keep this one a little bit more country. So I think I might just tear myself a couple of pieces of this. This is kind of that material that's already, you know, kind of country colors, and tearing it gives me a little bit more country look to it. So maybe I want to put a couple of layers of this on. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to pull it over to the side so that they meet on an edge, and I can staple that guy in, keep him where I want him. Staple on the other side, get rid of a little bit of extra. So that's one layer. That's kind of cute, just like at the top, like right there. I kind of like that. But we could put another one on just to make it look a little bit more interesting toward the bottom. So I'm just going to rip my layers. Again, just give it a little bit of extra down there. Going for a little more country look instead of a brighter springy look. Honestly, so many projects I make, I like them. I don't even know if I would hang that on my front door. It doesn't really match my house, but I really like it. I made it. But my house, well, it might match. It might match. I have a brick house, so I suppose you could put anything on brick. So we've got 2 layers there, so that looks nice. I like that. And let's just say I want to do a little bit of what I did here. I'm going to take a couple of little sprigs of greenery and just pull a couple of them off. And I'm going to just design something down here in the corner. This is why it's nice to have the wide frame, because it allows you to have some place to staple into, and it makes it more sturdy. Again, you could hot glue it. I just would be a little afraid to hot glue and think that it would stay on the front if I was putting it outside. If you're not going to put it outside, then it doesn't really matter. And even though I'm telling you that I'm doing this for a front door, you could put it wherever you want. It's just the idea that counts. So put it in your house. It's perfectly fine. Put it on your back patio, wherever you want to do it. I'm just trying to give you some inspiration. So I'm going to staple these guys all together right there on the front into my wood. And again, you can secure it as much or as little as you want to. And that might be okay. And I'm going to do the same kind of thing that I did right here, but I'm not going to put as many flowers around it because I'm going to keep it a little more country. Now this one might be a little challenging. I just stapled that nest onto that. I didn't hot glue it, but my nest didn't have as many large eggs and I glued the eggs into that one. So it could be a little tricky to get to the bottom of this nest. Ooh, and staple that. See, that didn't go all the way through. So, nope, not hitting wood there. I'm afraid I would have to hot glue that one. Unless I can really, okay. Sorry, nest. Nope, not gonna do it. I'd have to glue him in because he's just not gonna quite stay. He might stay for our purposes right now, but he's not gonna stay permanently. But let's just go ahead and I'm gonna show you real quick how I would design in this particular guy. No, he's not going to stay. Okay, so since I made a pocket, okay, like I told you, the flowers will just go right down into it, all right? So here's my pocket. Slide them down in there. And you notice how I didn't cut anything. I just stuck them in. So here's my greenery. And then, depending on what color, and I think I'll try some red. That's a lot of fern going on there. I think I'll just try some red. And my stems might get to the bottom. I might have to fold them a little bit, we'll see. But basically, if I were going to go ahead and be hanging this, I might hang it up on my door and design in it as I go too, or I might do it ahead of time. It just depends. All right, so I'm trying not to cut anything because I have to use these a lot. These are like my go-to flowers for every season, just like you would have at home. And I can just design, look at this, I'm designing from behind. Well, that takes talent. Not really. Designing backwards. So I'm just going to shove them in here. And you can make it as full or not full as you want. But I think that because we've got the stems down in here, and the more I put in, actually I probably need a shorter one up front. Since I'm not in the front, I can't really tell. Maybe up there. And maybe I'll put in a pop of yellow from somewhere. The more you put in, the tighter they kind of fit in there together. And you should be good, like not having to worry about them falling out on your porch and stuff. So just stick a couple of pops of yellow in there to brighten it up a little bit. Okay, so you see where we're going with this. And then maybe we want to imagine that my nest is still stuck there because it's supposed to be. Oh, here, I thought this was really cute. Let's say we want to grab some ribbon. The final touch here, putting a ribbon on it, give it a little bow treatment. And I am pretty sure that I did not grab a piece of wire because I wasn't thinking about making a bow. But I can tie it. Maybe I can tie it. Give it a bow treatment real quick. This will be really cute. This, like, I'd probably like to make it bigger than what I'm going to give it some color to add in here. And normally I would wrap it with a wire in the center. Oh wait, maybe I can steal that. Nope, can't steal that. Maybe I'll just wrap it with, extra ribbon. And that will look cute anyway. This is a wired ribbon, so I can just tie it and it'll stay together. And that will do the trick. And I can cut that off here in a second, but let's decide where we're going to put that. I think it would look nice. It would look nice on either side. It would look nice on either side. And since we're doing it on a frame, let's see if I can get enough of it to stay where the stapler can staple it, and I don't have to hot glue it. Hot glue comes off, but it's messier, and I always end up burning my fingers. So let's fluff this a little bit, get the idea. It's not a real wide ribbon, so it's not like a huge bow, but you get the idea. Here's our simple. Imagine that he's still staying there. Here's our simple, make it out of a frame to put it on your door instead of a wreath for spring. Okay? So you get the idea, and now you can hopefully go and be inspired to make one of your own and send us some pictures so we can post them on our Country Sampler Facebook website, and then people can see what you have created as well. So thank you for joining me. Hope that it was helpful, and I hope that you have a great day until I see you again. Bye.